tools, products, and techniques in this video are intended for use by adult modelers. Anyone under the age of 13 should always have adult supervision when using said tools, products, and techniques.
This week on Payne-ted Plastic.
Hey everybody, welcome to an all-new build series here at Payne-ted Plastic. And yeah, right, Master Grade Sinanju. Really excited for this one. This will be a fun one. Just love the cover art, right? I mean, look at that, fantastic. But let's see what's in the box. All the pieces got, of course, the instruction manual. We'll look at that in a minute. Crinkly Bandai plastic. Beautiful color red for these armor pieces. Really like this color, but we're gonna paint it. So, and ooh, right there we got our water slides for the gold details. We probably will not use these. I've got a plan. Let me put all this crinkly plastic away. We'll look at the instruction manual, and yeah, give me 1 second. All right, sorry about that. I can't stand that crinkly plastic. It hurts my ear holes. But yep, here's the instruction manual for the MSN-06S Sinanju. Oh, there's some more gold decals. These are the foil decals. We aren't going to be using these either. So, nice to have them in there, and some dry rubs. Lovely full color center page. Got paint codes down here as usual. If you want to paint it to look just like this. Paint codes for the pilot whose name I can't remember right now. This paint job, you know, we're going to do something basically the same, but of course a little different, right? We're not going to just paint it straight red. I kind of wanted to talk about that color while I'm thinking about it. I did some tests with a sort of candy red. Let me move that out of the way, right? Sort of a candy red. And the way I got this effect, I did a couple others here. I started with gloss black. That's just gloss black primer, and then I did a really light coat of pledge just to sort of enhance the gloss a bit. Started with that, and then I painted the whole thing gold leaf. This is, I should have grabbed some of the bottles. It's X12, maybe? I don't know, I can't remember. Gold leaf, Tamiya gold leaf. Sprayed the whole thing, and then gave this a coat of pledge just to enhance the shine. And after that, I did some pre-shading with gunmetal. It's X10? Yeah, I can't remember. I should have had these bottles out. But yeah, pre-shaded that with gunmetal. And then that got a coat of pledge, right? And then finally sprayed over top of all of that with clear red, which is, I'm never going to remember. Yeah, I'm never going to remember. We'll talk about it more later. And then that just sort of gave a really sort of nice candy look, right? And then, of course, this got a coat of pledge just to seal all that in, right? So that's what we're going to try to do on this kit, at least on the armor bits. The inner frame is going to be something different. We're going to have different fun with that, but this is sort of my plan. Oh, let me get them all on camera. This is sort of my plan for the armor. These are the stages, right? Should turn out kind of neat, I hope. Maybe. Hopefully. Fingers crossed, y'all. Alright, everybody, let's build this head section. I think I've got most of the parts here that we're going to need. There's not many parts to the head, actually. It's only a couple of things, but I think I got them here. Snips. I like a razor blade, but of course you can also use a hobby knife if you prefer. And I do use this from time to time. smaller bits, little, if I got to get in somewhere tight. But I usually just use a razor blade. Some sanding sticks, right? That's pretty much all we'll need. So if you've never built a Bandai kit, right? It's all in Japanese, but they do a really, really good job of calling out, you know, different things that you need to be aware of. So like for this very first section, you know, we're building this part, but this little like speech box is the assembly of this part, right? Hope I'm pointing that out. Right, so this little bit here is actually comprised of these two things, right? And that just calls that out. And then this is kind of the orientation from above of what this should look like once it's done, right? And of course you've got your part numbers, right? L14, L28, and then that's made of L26 and C5. So they do a really good job of calling those things out. One thing for the C5, I'm not going to cut that out because that's actually, sorry, hang on. That's actually the clear lens. And if you've seen my builds before, you know I like to keep the clear parts in bags until the very end. Keeps them from getting scratched or dusty or, yeah. So we're not actually going to do that bit. We're just going to grab L26 and plug it in. You know, all this is going to get disassembled eventually. So we've got here number 26, right? So when I clip these things initially, I clip way far up the gate. The gate, if you've never built a kit, all right, so you have a sprue, right? That's or some people call it a tree, a parched tree. That's just the outline, right? The boxes. Then you have gates, which are the little bits that flow into the part. In fact, there's little arrows. I don't know if they'll even come out on camera, but you can see those arrows indicate the plastic is flowing into a mold, which would be here, and that's what forms the part, right? So these are the gates, right? And when you snip a gate, here, we'll just cut out this big head so I can show it to you easier. When you cut a part off the sprue, right, you end up with nubs, right? And those are just little bits of plastic that is where the gate connected, right? So you have to get those off. To do that, if you've got a really nice pair of nippers, you can cut it pretty close. I still don't like to go right up to the part, but you can cut it down to where it's just barely above the surface of the plastic, right? I hope I'm showing you all this, right? So now I've just kind of snipped it down to where it's barely a little bit of plastic. Then, whoops, you drop your piece. Then take a razor blade, or like I said, you can use a hobby knife, and just gently go over where that nub was. And you can cut away that little bit of extra plastic, right? Just gently shave it down. So then I just take a sanding stick and go over what I just cut, and that polishes away anything that's left. All right. So there we go. That piece is cleaned, right? This was the L28, incidentally. All right, so I'm going to hit the Barry Allen button and get this head all put together, and then we'll take a look at what's next. last piece is the fin. And there is, like I said, there's only a few pieces to it, so not overly complicated. Anyway, let's get the rest of the kit all snapped up, and we'll take a look at the whole thing put together. So give me 1 second. All right, everybody, here is the Sinanju all snapped together, and boy, oh boy, there was a lot of parts in this kit. You know, master grades are always intricate, but there are just so many working parts on this kit. You know, all these little thrusters are articulated, and thrusters on the back, and all of this, all these things are articulated. Just really, really, really intricate kit. But a really nice kit too. It took a long time to snap together, but it's really a pretty nice kit. There are a few things that I want to do before we move on to paint, particularly on some of the weapons. There's some seam lines that I want to get rid of. On these fuel tubes, I want to seal those up, and there's some seams on these shoulders that I'm not sure if that's even going to come out, but not real happy with those. I'd like that to be filled, but I don't know if it's going to be possible with the stuff that's inside of it, and well, I'll have to take a look at it, and we'll get into that. We'll get into that later. That's another episode. So I'm going to leave this one here. We've got the kit all assembled, and yep, and we'll start working on some of the mods and stuff like that in episode 2. So stay tuned for that. As always, thanks for hanging out with me, and we will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.